Good morning, everyone. It's Lindsay Huddleston with SPS back in the building with another SPS Monday Motivation. That's right, getting it going. Hope you had a great weekend, had a wonderful weekend. Got to hang out with my daughter. She's growing and soon to be a freshman in high school. Oh, my goodness. That's right. Madeline's about to be a freshman next year, and I'm just so grateful for her growth and being a beautiful young lady. So what is today's Monday Motivation? I appreciate everybody who stopped in yesterday. I was talking about discussing these new things in the NIL era, and it was a great discussion. We're going to pick that back up next Sunday for some Sunday sports talk. Appreciate that. But today's topic is thoughts create reality. That's right. Thoughts create reality. Now, whether you believe in this principle or not, if you would, think about the idea. If that were true, if you knew that thoughts created reality, how would you manage what you think about? How would you put effort into being intentional about your thoughts? I think it's really important because sometimes we can consume so much information. We are a consumption society, and I'm not saying that in a bad way because information is so readily available, whether it's the internet, whether it's music, whether it's news, whatever it may be, whether it's the people that you're around. So I think it's really important that we realize that our thoughts do create our reality. There she is, Michelle Mimi Watkins. Good morning. Happy to see you this morning. Michelle, glad you could check in. Always so good in supporting the platform and being here. Yeah, Michelle, we're talking about thoughts creating reality. The reminders is your thoughts are very powerful and they shape your focus, your behavior, and ultimately your reality. Now that might be the one jumping off point that may have people say, do I believe this or do I not? But in the case that it did, in fact that if it did, how would you change your thoughts? How would you focus your thoughts? How would you be intentional? Got Carol Bay Bush. Good morning. Good to see you, Carol. Thanks for stopping in this morning. I hope all is well with you. Definitely just talking about how thoughts create reality. That's not just a saying. It's grounded in what we call cognitive behavior theory. Your thoughts influence your emotions. Think about that. Then your emotions influence your actions, and your actions shape your outcomes. I'm not just trying to do some wordplay here, but think about it. Your thoughts influence your emotions. You were thinking about something, and it makes you feel a certain way. Well, that emotion makes you act. Right? That emotion influences you to act, and then your actions shape the outcome. So I think it's important that we can make that connection. Now, boundaries also equal well-being. These mental boundaries that we need to create for ourselves also help with well-being. I just heard something recently that said my boundaries help maintain my well-being. Wow. My boundaries help maintain my well-being. See, we can argue with our own self about whether we should have certain boundaries, or people may argue with us about the boundaries that we create that may impact them. But boundaries help maintain your well-being. So we're talking about protecting your time, protecting your energy, and protecting your focus. All this stuff is essential, right? According to the self-regulation theory, setting limits helps stay aligned with your goals and reduces mental strain. See, we try to be all things for everybody, and I'm not saying you shouldn't be, a resource to others, but if we don't set these boundaries, we find ourselves just acting on behalf of others in society and not moving forward, and that gives us internal strife. That gives us a challenge. Last week, we talked about keeping the vision, right? Well, this is staying along those lines. Boundaries are not barriers. They're protection for your purpose, okay? Boundaries are not barriers. They're protection for your purpose. Because if you're not purpose-driven, if you're not on the path for what you need to do, you're going to just only grow negative inside. You're only going to grow in a bad way where you're not feeling yourself because you're not living the life you feel you were set out to live, right? Talk about scrolling and rabbit holing, right? Scrolling and rabbit holing. I came up with that recently. You got to be mindful of where your attention goes. Now, social media is a big part of my work, a big part of my life. I recognize that. But I also recognize when you look up, you say, man, I've been on this thing for a minute. And you really try to be mindful of what you're doing. Endless scrolling and rabbit holing can drain us mentally. It can increase comparisons and disrupt our focus. Let me go back to that last one, increase in comparison. Sometimes it's so easy that we see, and I talk about this all the time, but we see things on social media and we make this immediate comparison, not knowing the other person's struggle, or you may even know it. But even still, you have to be careful with that, because that's a thief of joy right there. When you're trying to compare yourself to somebody else, not taking into account their struggle. Do you want to go through what they went through to get what they had? I'll repeat that. Do you want to go through what they went through to get what they had, that you find yourself comparing yourself to? And also, again, it disrupts our focus, right? The focus that you have going on about today. This ties into what I spoke on a couple of weeks ago, this attention economy, right? Your attention is constantly being competed for. You got to protect that. You got to say, when you get up this morning after your Monday motivation, okay, what am I focused on today? What's my priority today? We can have a long list of things, and that's great, but sometimes it just takes getting that one thing done. Sometimes it starts with just, as they say, just making your bed in the morning, just getting that one goal accomplished, just making that one phone call, that one follow-up, whatever it is, bit by bit, piece by piece, right? More importantly, what I wanted to talk about today is the ability to awaken your higher self. Lindsay, what are you talking about? You going, yeah, that's right. Your higher self is the version of you that's aligned with purpose, discipline, and growth. Your higher self is the version of you that's aligned with purpose, discipline, and growth, right? That part that when you was in church on Sunday that you was thinking and praying about. That part that when you got moved by something that really touched you, say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm talking about that higher self that you're able to think about and want to be like. But sometimes we get pulled from that when we get to dealing with our day-to-day activities. There are some people that either motivate us to be like our higher self or may take that energy away. I see Patricia England checking in. Good morning, Mother. Hope all is well. So I use the tool of mindfulness. I talked about that a lot. Through mindfulness, you can become aware of your thoughts. You can refocus your energy, and you can make intentional decisions with all this stuff that's going on. Good morning, Mother. Glad you're up, getting the day going. I'm up as well. I already hit the gym and want to get this going and get ready for a great week, right? So what are some tools to stay aligned? SPS is all about solutions, sports psychology solutions, that is. You can monitor your thoughts and challenge the negative behavior. See, when we start getting into this internal, auditing of our own self, it can be really challenging, because we can be quick to want to say what somebody else shouldn't be doing, but when we look at doing things internally, it can be really challenging, right? So you can monitor your thoughts to challenge the negative patterns. You can set daily boundaries with time and energy. I'm not going to spend all that time at the water cooler today. When so-and-so come over to my desk and get to talking, I'm going to keep it brief and keep it moving, right? When that phone call come in, when that text message come in, I'm going to act accordingly, right? You can also limit scrolling by being intentional with what you consume. You can give yourself a time limit no matter what, or you can say, hey, once things start getting a little toxic, start getting a little nasty, I'm going to go back off. You can do these things, right? And also practice mindfulness, where you can pause, you can reflect, and you can reset. Pause for a minute. I took a deep breath yesterday and I felt like, I was doing something illegal, because we are shallow breathers by nature. I talk about that all the time. But when you take a moment just to pause and reflect, this life can get us going so fast. And many of us who are so goal orientated, we're all about going, but we rarely take time to sit back and reflect. We rarely take time to sit back and gather ourselves, right? Because again, our thoughts impact our reality, right? You want to reconnect with your purpose daily. You do have a purpose. Your purpose isn't just to get up, go to work, pay bills, and die. I'm sorry to be so frank about it, but I think it's easy to get caught up in this rat race. And financial responsibilities are something. Hey, that hit somebody hard. That's how them hearts coming in, right? That's what I'm saying, though. But we can easily be programmed to be about that everything's about that, and we draw our purpose from that. And I'm not saying that those responsibilities aren't important and you're not going to meet those, but sometimes we got to take a step back and reflect, like, this is not what I was put on earth for. This is not it. And while those things are still important, and while you're still working on those things, give yourself a moment to breathe, to reflect, and think about some things. So as I wrap these comments up, I want to say your thoughts shape your path. Your boundaries protect it, and your awareness strengthens it. Your thoughts shape your path, your boundaries protect it, and your awareness strengthens it. When we put boundaries up, people start to say, you acting funny. You got Michelle say, frankness is needed. Be real about it. Be straight up with it, right? When we try to make changes and we plan to make changes, the changes are obvious because people respond to it. Are you acting different? What's going on with you? And so many times we try to appease others, at our own detriment. And I'm not saying you push somebody over the cliff, but I'm saying that you have a right every day to have a fresh start. You have a right every day to be the person that you are working towards being. And if people can't accept that, that's on them. That's not on you. We put so much effort into making other people feel comfortable about our journey, and they end up putting you in a box, directly or indirectly, consciously or subconsciously. But either way, all that's happening is that you're going to continue to have internal conflict inside if you're dealing with that. Be willing to step up and say, hey, I got a new thing I'm on today. And every day is a new day to start that. You may take a step forward and feel a step back, but today is a new day. It's 7:10 a.m., going forward. And as we wrap up March, going into April, that's right, you have an opportunity to do something new, do something fresh that's going to work to your benefit for your purpose. With that being said, I got a great group of people who stopped in today. I hope this can be helpful. If you do believe for a moment that your thoughts can create your reality, what would you do to make sure that the things that are in your mind, the things that you're exposing yourself to, can help with the reality and the outcome that you want? Hey, with that being said, appreciate you guys' support. I want you to go on and have a great day, have a great week, have a great month, have a great year, have a great life. This is Lindsay Hustle with SPS. I appreciate you. I'll see you soon. Peace.